if you're new to my channel, this is a different video from what I usually do. I am usually post an animatic every 5 months and then drop off the face of the universe for the rest. So this is a different video from what I usually do. I am for once doing a draw with me video. I've never done one of these before, so if you end up liking this, let me know in the comments. That would be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let us begin. So today I'm drawing my OCs, Matt and Emil, and they are, I would say Matt and Emil are my most popular OCs because they appeared in my Our Way Out video that I posted, I think 2 years ago, and it was an animatic about their story, and it was very, very vague. I kind of winged it. I kind of listened to this song on Spotify the day I made it, and I was like, wow, this is like just like those mercenary OCs I had. And I was like, oh my god, I have to draw them. But I had no story. All I knew is that they were gay, and I was like, that's it. So the general backstory has like completely changed. Matt is now like a fully fleshed out character instead of just being like a joke character. Emil, now fully fleshed out character instead of being a joke character. And I really owe it all to that video, like getting popular and people telling me that they were interested in it, because I think I like them, but like seeing that other people like them really pushed me to develop them more and try to, because when people ask you like, oh, what's their story, and you don't have a story, you're like, they're gay, that's it. And it's like, oh, okay, I'll go look at something else now. They've come a long way. They used to be joke characters. Now they have like their own stories that kind of like intertwine. So I'm going to just read a little bit about what I wrote for them. Okay, I didn't write anything and they all live in my head rent free. Matt is basically a prince of the kingdom of Midgard. So like while Matt is this like prince, his father dies and he ends up having to take up this responsibility of becoming the new king. And it's not what he wanted, it's not what he planned, and Emil, who happens to be like this shield, like this king's knight, like his like first knight, decides, okay, you're in distress, like you don't want to do this, why don't you just run away? And it ends up becoming this huge thing. Like it's literally the day, like the night before Matt is supposed to become king, like the next day, and Emil is just like, let's go, let's get out of here. And Matt's like, okay. And they make this promise like that they're not gonna leave each other because it's just such a risk to leave. They leave and they're escaping. They get caught, obviously, because we can't have anything good that's just handed to us. So they get caught, and Emil decides to buy time for Matt to escape, and they promise to meet each other at the docks. Does that happen? No, but Matt ends up making it to the docks and Emil does not, and he ends up getting captured because he tried to buy time for Matt to escape, which Matt does. And yeah, it's a whole thing where Emil is then thrown into the dungeon for like 15 years while Matt goes on his own adventure trying to become his own person. And Emil is like, he like decides to escape the dungeon, and it's just like they run into each other, but because those events of the past are so traumatic for Matt, he doesn't remember who saved him that night. He just remembers that, like, vaguely what that guy's face looked like, and that he was just like his royal knight, but does not know his name, like, anything. It just has like these vague memories, and it's sad, but you know what? We love a sad story. As long as it maybe turns out happy in the end. Who knows? I don't. All I know is that it's in my head. So they go on a bunch of adventures together. Like, Emil still knows it's Matt. Matt doesn't know it's Emil. And like, it's kind of like angsty, and like, it's like, I know you, but you don't know me. It's like, when will you recognize it's me? You know, gay people. But yeah. So, like, their whole deal is that they defy destiny to try and become their own people, like their own persons, and not what everything in, like, history has planned out for them. Because Matt was supposed to be king, Emil was supposed to be royal knight, but they said, nah, I'm not doing that. So it's kind of like just trying to live this life that they never had, but they always wanted. But destiny has other things in plan for them if they don't stick to it. And that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say, because things have changed a lot from the Our Way Out video. It is definitely not the same as that little description I wrote in the comments, because I half-assed that. I came up with that like at the next day. I was like, yeah, this'll work. Because I needed something to explain to people, but that's all I had to go off of. I desperately love my OCs, as you can tell. Like, they are my favorite thing to draw. Of, like, they are the thing of all time. So I wanted to talk about why I draw my OCs instead of, like, just drawing anything else. And I think a lot of that stems from trying to draw what I love nowadays. And it kind of sounds silly, because usually you think of, like, why wouldn't you draw what you love? And I think the answer to that is social media, likes, attention, and it just stems from wanting to be liked by other people. Like, nobody is usually interested in your characters unless you make them interested in your characters, and it's hard to do that. Like, you can't just post something and just say, like, look at my character, I love him, he's gay, he has boyfriend, and expect people, like, every single person to just go, oh my god, I love him too. It's, like, so hard to find, like, people who will appreciate what you like. And that's why I think I latched on to drawing fan art, because they were already established characters. People already knew who they were. I knew who they were. And they were recognizable. And if I drew them, people would know who they were. And they were bound to get people to like it. And I kind of fell into this trap of where when I drew fan art, I think for the first time, not the first time, but I drew my first Honkai Star Rail fan art last year. If I have it, I might put it on the screen. And I was shocked to see, I think it got over 1,000 likes on Twitter. My art usually does not get attention at all on Twitter. I had around, I think, 300, 200 followers before I started to blow up, and it was kind of like shocking. Like, I wasn't expecting people to comment like, oh my god, I love your art, like, how did you do this? And I was just like, huh? Like, what? Da Vinci? Like, what? And I was so grateful. I was like, oh my god, I never thought people would look at my art this way. And when I realized that people liked my art, like my fan art, I just wanted to draw more because I saw big number and I was like, ooh, I like that. I want to draw more. I just remember I drew joke fan art of Dan Hong from Honkai Star Rail as Aoba from Dramatical Murder. And if you don't know what Dramatical Murder is, you're lucky. It was a joke fan art because it was just like the funny meme pose where he's laying on the bed and his proportions are just all messed up. This art I drew, it got 40,000 likes and I was like, huh? And it got reposted to other places that I really did not appreciate because I don't like my art reposted anywhere. I don't think anybody else likes their art reposted anywhere. Especially when it got reposted to ta-da, 4chan, yay! I want to kill myself. Anyway, I was definitely not excited about my art being reposted, and then I got comments from people who were like, oh, his arm is off, like the proportions are off. And it's kind of like, yeah, that was the point like of the meme, and I had to explain to people like that was the point because it was funny. Because in the original art of Aoba, like his arm was dangerously long and it was kind of funny. But seeing that people like did not know, and I just like left the comment section open to people's opinions and like just like thinking they could like tear down my art because big number, that many likes, I can comment whatever I want. It was kind of like frustrating. I don't know. It was just like, hey, why do you think you can say that about people's art? Like, anyway, I eventually turned off the comments because it was getting annoying and overwhelming. And even after that, I think I gained like in a week, like on Twitter, maybe 1,000 followers, and I just remember it going up to like 1.5k around that time, or like somewhere around there, maybe 1.2k. And it was crazy. Like I've never had that many followers in my life on Twitter, and it was quite an adventure. I'm not gonna lie, it was very overwhelming to gain that many eyes on you in like a week, because it was kind of like, oh, they're expecting more fan art. And even though they might not, like right away, it's like in the back of my head, I was like, I have to draw something. Like all these people just followed me. I don't know what to do. And I decided like, oh, I see big number. I'm just gonna draw more. And I did. And it was like I tried to keep it into drawing what I liked and what I thought was funny, like in my own way, and people did like it, and I liked it for a while until I realized, like, I think maybe a month or two later that I really did not care for the game anymore, and I realized that I didn't really like my fan art anymore, and I just stopped drawing it. I stopped drawing Honkai Star Rail fan art because I just didn't care for the game anymore. And I had a bunch of unfinished fan art because we don't finish things here. And so like I noticed that I just started drawing my OCs again, and I posted a few for a while, and I noticed the complete difference in the amount of likes when I started posting my OCs. Originally, when I went from posting the fan art, which would sometimes usually get like 2,000 likes to maybe like 800, it was crazy. Like it would go to like 800 if it was like a sketch, and I was like, oh my god, what is going on? This never happened to me. And I noticed soon after I was drawing fan art, and I posted like a little OC doodle of Oliver, who's in my first animatic. Hero, I had to think for a second. He got like 40 likes, which was kind of crazy to me then. Like, I was like, wow, like OC art, like getting this much attention. But I felt kind of bad because meanwhile, something I posted that was like a sketch, like a shit post, like got like 800 likes, like maybe like a week before. And then when I posted something I tried to fully color, it got like 40. And I just felt like terrible. I was like, wow, they don't give a damn. And I know a lot of it stems to them not knowing anything about my OCs and not being familiar with them, because people like what they're familiar with. And eventually when I realized I didn't want to draw Honkai Star Rail fan art anymore because I honestly could not really care about it, I realized that people didn't start to unfollow me. It's kind of like they were waiting for me to draw it again. And even now, I'm stuck at like 1.7k followers because it feels like people are still waiting for me to draw fan art again. And I don't know, maybe it's because I have that large of a following and I only post my OCs, but I only get like maybe 10 to 20 likes on something if it's like colored. It kind of feels like a kick in the face, like, hey, I'm over here, look at me. But I also realized that like I kind of would rather everybody leave if they don't care. It's kind of like big number does not bother me anymore, in a way. In a way, it doesn't, like my follower account specifically, because I just don't want to see it that big if people aren't going to like my art anymore. Like, why are you waiting for me to post fan art when I'm not gonna do it? I'm an OC artist now, at heart. I love my gay people. But yeah, that's just like a little reason why I'm kind of frustrated with the art world a bit, and kind of just like personal reasons why it's a little bit frustrating. But now I want to talk about more why I enjoy drawing what I love, because that's why I kind of like strayed away from drawing fan art specifically. So there's not always a bad side to that story, because it made me realize that like my true passion lies in my characters specifically. And it made me realize if I want people to care about my characters, I need to explain more about them. So I started this YouTube channel around the time I think I was making fan art, and I posted some animatics about my characters while I was kind of almost starting to make fan art again. So I kind of got looped back into making fan art, and then I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm just gonna go back to making my OC stuff because it's kind of what I truly care about. Because you guys kind of showed me that people do care about my OCs, and it was like, though you don't necessarily need and shouldn't rely on like that motivation to like keep yourself going and draw like what you love, and which I don't now, it was kind of like a little pick-me-up, like, oh, like this nice comment kept me going and made me want to develop this more, which was really nice. I still remember like early comments like, oh my god, like this is gonna be big, like you're gonna be big, and I was like, oh my god, that's so nice, like I don't even know what I'm doing. Cause animation has always been a little, not even always, when I was little, I used to use Flipnote Hatena, which was on the DSi. It was a little animation app where you could post animations and download other people's animations, edit them if they allowed you to edit them, and just like share them. And people would definitely animate them to music, I have that image where it's like, I am the second coming of Leonardo da Vinci. And then it's like, I'm going to kill myself. My art is horrible. And I'm like shifting between that right now. Wait, where's that Germa audio where it's like, Leonardo,
Michelangelo,
da Vinci?
Leonardo, Da Vinci, they're all dead.
I remain.
You understand? I remain as a performance artist.
So I basically saw in the YouTube like animation community, like with animatics, I was like, oh my god, this is just like Flipnote Hatena, and I got so excited to try and do that again. And I had a bunch of new characters. I was like, let me try it, and on a whim I did. I posted it to an audience of like no one, and I'm really shocked that we grew to like 1,000 subscribers. It's pretty crazy. I never thought on YouTube I would get anywhere, especially with my animations, because I'm not an animator. I am just self-taught, Flipnote Hatena all the way. I've never had a professional animation class like my college. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I was never taught like 2D animation. Like, I was only taught 3D, but I don't think you could really call that being taught 3D. I had to learn a lot on my own. Yeah, my college was not amazing, but I love the teachers there and my friends, so yeah. Anyway, I really wanted to say that drawing what you love, you need to be your biggest cheerleader. It's definitely hard. I definitely learned that you can't always rely on other people to motivate you to draw. Like, you need to find that passion and just like stick to it. Like, find that feeling of like, oh my god, I love these characters, I love this. Like, and it can be fan art for some people, but like for me, it's my own characters. Like Matt and Emil, they are my babies, my baboos, and I love them. But yeah, like specifically for me, it's Matt and Emil, and they just make me so happy because it's like, oh my god, I created them, and even if like 2 people and a P care about them, and I'm the P, like, I would be over the moon. And over time, I think people will like your characters. Like, I have a few friends who do really care about my characters, and I think if you struggle to latch on to characters, or like if you struggle to want to continue drawing them because you feel like nobody cares, I think it's definitely worth it to just talk about them. Like, post them online, talk about them. Somebody out there is interested, I promise you. Like, on Tumblr, I post my art to Tumblr kind of as an archive. I don't really use it like Twitter. I don't use it like anything else. I post it and then I leave. I dip. But I got this reply, or I got this ask on Tumblr telling me that, okay, I found it. Sometimes I think about this a lot. So I had a few people tell me on Tumblr, like, that they really appreciated all my trans mask art on Tumblr. I think this was a few months ago, or like later last year. And somebody sent me an ask that said, I think I missed the post others have responded to, but throwing in another compliment on your art, and specifically trans mask art. It's been a joy every time I've seen your stuff on my dash, and as a fellow trans man, I love seeing so much trans mask stuff, since it can be surprisingly hard to find artists who draw it frequently. And I kind of just like, I just felt like so like grateful and happy, and I just think about this all the time, kind of. I just felt so grateful, and because nobody has ever really told me this, and like it kind of felt crazy in a way, because it was like other people liked what I was drawing, and it was something very personal to me that felt really personal to other people as well. And I think this specific moment where other people told me that they liked my like personal art and like my trans art. It was kind of like it was like that was the big point where I was like, okay, I like my art. Even if one person likes my art, I don't care what the other 1.7k other people who are probably expecting fan art think. I'm going to draw what I love, and I'm just gonna do it. Like, why not? Like, it makes me happy, and if it makes one other person happy, then hell yeah, I'll do it. And like, circling back around to drawing what I love, I think the reason that I get so much like of this like happy, like euphoric feeling from drawing what I love is because these characters have become so personal to me, and I like throw a bit of like myself in each of them, and I love that. And like, even if nobody else cared now, it'd be like, I don't care, like I love it. It's like great. And I made this meme where I'll put it on screen, but it's like that guy in the suit and then the guy in the pajamas, and it's like me when my art gets 2,000 likes, or it's like when my fan art gets 2,000 likes, and then it's like me when my OC art gets 2 likes, and I'm like, that's me now. Like, I love that. And it's seriously never been more true, because I can post something on Twitter now to my audience of 1.7k who I'm sure have either muted me or are waiting for me to post fan art again, and I'm never gonna do that again. I don't think I will, unless it's Final Fantasy VII. But I'm really never more happy than I've ever been drawing, and I don't think I'll ever fall into that trap of trying to draw fan art for likes again, because I even tried to convince myself like, oh, like I love this, and it's like, not really. Not really. I just love the big number. And it's like, no. And just drawing for myself again is really what makes me happy. And I think if anybody else out there is stuck where they're trying to keep up with a trend, or just like draw something for likes, or draw what they don't really want to draw unless it's a commission, which you have to do, just take some time for yourself and draw what you like. And if you're not really sure what you like, then I would say just like take some time away from drawing. Like, take a break. Like, it's okay to not always draw. I went through I think the longest art block I ever went through in, oh my god, maybe 2020, 2019, where I could not pick up a pencil for maybe 5 months. And I just remember the time I did pick up my tablet pen, I was like, huh? How do I hold this? And it was like, it was not fun. But the first thing I ever drew after that amount of time was a self-portrait, and it wasn't really great. It wasn't anything I wanted to like show every single person ever and like hang on the fridge, but it was something, and it was me, and it got me drawing again. And I really, really appreciate that self-portrait, even though it's kind of garbage now, but it really got me out of that time where I didn't know what to draw, and it made me draw again. And after that, I started drawing and creating original characters, because at that time, I did not know what to draw. I was so confused, because like, I think at that point, all I really drew was fan art. Again, back in 2019. Or like, I had one character for a game that I didn't really play anymore, and I just didn't know what to draw. And eventually, Like, I talked to friends and they're like, they had a bunch of characters, so I decided why not make my own? And I revamped a bunch of characters I had, and I latched onto them so hard, and I was like, oh my god, my babies. But yeah, it's like, if you don't know what to draw, I recommend a few things, or at least this is what I do when I don't know what to draw. And kind of the reason I'm actually drawing what I'm drawing right now. So when I don't know what to draw and I'm kind of like bummed out and I am like dry on ideas, I always go for a redraw. It's like the number one thing I do. I decide like what kind of redraw I want to do. And I think 9 out of 10 times I redraw Leyendecker paintings because they are so good. He's my favorite artist ever. That's kind of where I wanted to draw this, because I was like, why don't I just make one painting for Valentine's Day? And I was just like, okay, but what do I paint? I don't know what to paint. And then I was like, why not do the thing we always do and redraw Leyendecker? Okay, so I stepped away for a bit, and then I decided, oh my god, the recording is already like 5 hours long. So I took my iPad away from my desk and I decided to sit down in the living room and just relax while working on this and trying to correct some of the colors and rendering. So you can see I kind of like fixed some of the colors, and now I have to work on matte because I kind of got Emil worked out a bit. I have to work on the folds, as you can see in the hand rendering, but he is mostly put together. I might not go crazy with the background. I tried to work on the background a little bit by adding like some texture with the brush, but I didn't do too much. And now I have to work on matte, so I will do that now. And I decided, yeah, this fits Matt and Emil. Not really, but I wanted to draw them in these clothes for like Valentine's Day, like Emil in a suit. Hell yeah, I'm into that. But I'm actually really happy with this. I think it might be one of my favorite Leyendecker paintings I've ever redrawn, because I've done a few and I will put them on the screen. This one, Emil, hello, I love you. You're so gorgeous. But anyway, my boyfriend loves Emil, so I'm like, I have to channel that energy and make Emil look, yeah. I have to make him look, yeah, for him. I just wanted to leave the video off by saying that it takes a lot to realize that I was okay with drawing what I loved and that I wasn't really gonna let anything else affect what I drew. Like, I'm not gonna draw things that make me unhappy anymore. And I think part of that was realizing that nobody else is gonna create the art that I make. Like, they're my OCs. Like, of course, nobody else is gonna draw them, but I think that's really the point, because if nobody else is gonna draw them and I have these stories to tell, then why not draw them and kind of like make them my favorite thing to draw, because they really are. And I think that kind of message that if you want to draw something, if you want to see something that nobody else is drawing, or you just never seen that before and you just want to see that, then I think you should be the one to make it. Like, you can't just wait around expecting somebody else to make it. I think even if you think you don't have like any skill, it's just like, just go for it. Like, you'll get there. Like, I did not get to this point just from like drawing for a day, obviously. Like, I've been drawing since I was maybe like, I don't know, like 24. I'm now 22. But it's also another thing to see that there are people better than me who have been drawing for less, and that's fine. Like, they probably practice more, because I don't draw every single day of my life. Like, that's not something I think I could mentally do. But I think the point is that it's okay to be bad at art. Like, allow yourself to be bad, because you're gonna get better, but you have to allow yourself to be bad. And in my opinion, there's really no such thing as bad art, but calling it bad so you can just move forward and get better is okay to me. Like, you're gonna get better. I mean, I sure hope I did. I mean, my old art makes me want to scream. but that's the point. Like, you keep getting better, you keep progressing, and progress isn't always linear. Like, you're gonna make some art that's like, what is this? And then you're gonna make some art that makes you feel like you're like the second coming of Leonardo da Vinci. And it's like, it's crazy. Like, art progress isn't always linear, progress isn't always linear, but who cares? Like, if you have fun creating what you like, and that's really what you should be doing. Like, when I was younger, all I used to draw was comics, and I didn't give a damn about what anybody else thought, because it was fun. It was for myself. And as soon as I got online and like I started going on social media and like DeviantArt, it was like I saw that I wasn't great at art. I wasn't the best that I thought I was, and that there were people better than me. But I think realizing that, like, you don't need to be so intertwined with social media and art to let yourself have fun creating. It's like, how do I word this? It's like letting social media run how you create art is just not fun. It's like you try to keep up with trends, you end up burning out, and you draw stuff you kind of really don't care about just because you want to see the big number, likes, everything like that, attention. And of course, that's nice. Like, I'm not saying that, oh, like, you shouldn't just draw and just like expect nobody to like it. Like, I think the most important thing is that you like it. Like, for me, my thing was that I wanted to please like everybody, and I forgot that the most important thing was making myself happy. And I'm like, that's why I started drawing in the first place, because I wanted to see things that just didn't exist. Like, even when I was like 5 years old, it's like, but as the social media like grew bigger and people started creating trends, people started making fan art, I kind of just didn't latch on to things like I used to, and I just went with like, sure, I'll draw this popular character from this game that I sort of played. And I didn't really think, hey, if people like this, is this all I'm gonna have to make? And then that mindset, I kind of like only started drawing stuff that I didn't care about. And eventually I realized, this sucks. I don't care about this. People are expecting me to draw this. I don't want to draw this. And it kind of got away from me because I grew a following around stuff I didn't exactly care about anymore. Like, maybe in that moment I was like, yeah, this is cool, I like this game, but it wasn't something I really wanted to draw for the rest of time, because to be honest, I could not care about this game anymore. And it kind of sucks knowing that people expect to see fan art, and that's why they followed me. And that's why out of like 1.7k people on Twitter, I only get like maximum 20 likes on an OC art I did. But I think just like knowing that like I'm happy with it, like my boyfriend loves my characters too, and then like I have a few really good friends who are always like my cheerleaders, cheering me on for my characters. It's like, I think I would rather prefer that than just a faceless crowd of people expecting things I don't want to do. And it kind of sounds silly because that's what you probably think you want anyway, but like with how absorbed people are in social media, myself included at the time, with just like, oh, people like this, I'll just make more. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very thankful for everybody who got me on Twitter to 1.7K, but at some point, I kind of wish that I just didn't blow up for this reason. I hope that anybody else who's just like maybe going through something similar or is in something similar right now knows that you don't always need to keep drawing what you don't want to draw just because it gets the big likes and the big numbers on whatever social media platform you're on. Like, it's really not worth your time if it doesn't make you happy. Why did you start drawing? All right, so it has been a hot minute. I have tried to finish this in time for Valentine's Day. That did not happen, but I'm really happy with how this came out. It was like a little exploration of my style mixed with Leyendecker style, and I am just so happy. Oh my god. Pretty good. You could say, oh, there's a million people better than me. Like, everybody's always going to be better than somebody, but will they make what you make? No, it could be your idea, your art style. It could be anything. And if you like these kinds of videos, let me know in the comments, or maybe even consider subscribing and liking the video. But yeah, see you in the next one.